Hi everyone, welcome to the series of my English classes. Today, let us discuss a new lesson, A Truly Beautiful Mind. This chapter is all about Albert Einstein. He was a great scientist. The title of the chapter, A Truly Beautiful Mind, refers to Albert Einstein himself. This is a short biography of Einstein where some of his qualities have been highlighted. Albert's interest in mathematics and physics, and also his humanitarian attribute. The title, A Truly Beautiful Mind, makes one wonder that how can a scientist's mind be more beautiful? It is so because in this lesson we come across another aspect of Einstein. He was a humanitarian. He advocated world peace, non-violence, and that is why the title refers to him as a truly beautiful mind. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879. He was born in a city named in Germany. When he was a child, no one could predict that one day he would become a great scientist. He was like all the other children. On the contrary, his mother thought Albert was a freak. Here, the word freak refers to a person who is unusual and doesn't behave, look, or think like others. Albert's mother thought Albert was a freak because he did not behave, talk, or look like normal people did. He was different from other children of his age. He behaved abnormally. It seemed as if he had lesser intelligence in comparison to other children. To her, his head seemed much too large. Albert Einstein started talking when he was 2.5 years of age. Finally, when Einstein started speaking, he used to repeat the words. His playmates used to call him Brother Boring because he remained to himself. He did not play or talk to them. Einstein remained to himself all the time. He used to play with himself only. From the very beginning, since his childhood, he loved mechanical toys such as automated cars, automated airplanes, etc. When his sister was born and he looked at her, he could not see her feet. He was wondering where the baby's wheels were. That means the feet of the baby. As Albert Einstein used to play with toys and all the toys had a set of wheels, to him Maja seemed to be a toy too. And so he might have thought that where were her wheels? The headmaster of Einstein's school told Einstein's father that Einstein would never be successful in whatever profession he chose. Einstein was a very good violinist. He learned playing the violin at the age of 6 because his mother wanted him to learn to play it. All his life he was an amateur violinist. He played the violin as a hobby, not as a profession. Albert Einstein was a very good student. He went to a school in Munich because his family had moved from to Munich when he was 15 months old and scored good marks in almost every subject. Einstein hated the school's regimentation. The school where Einstein went had a very strict discipline, which he disliked. Due to that, he often clashed with his teachers' opinions and opposed them. Einstein was so suffocated in that school, he could not follow the strict discipline, and so he left the school forever. When Albert Einstein left the school, 1 year before that, When Albert Einstein left the school, 1 year before that, his parents had moved to another city, Milan, which is in Italy. Albert was left behind in Munich with his relatives. The school in Munich was very strict. Albert could not follow the discipline over there. He had a long discussion with his family, relatives, and finally, his parents agreed to put him in a school in Switzerland, and the language used there for communication was German. Einstein was good at studies. He was highly gifted in mathematics. So he was exceptionally good in mathematics and also had interest in physics. He joined the university in Zurich. Science was not the only thing that appealed to Einstein, who was a very handsome young man. Other than science, he had interest in something else also. Other than maths and physics, Albert Einstein liked one of his fellow students. Her name was Mileva Marik. He thought that she was very clever, sharp, and intelligent. He called her a clever creature. They met at the University of Zurich. Mileva Marik belonged to Serbia. She came from Serbia to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few universities in Europe which gave degrees to female students. Einstein felt that Mileva was a friend because she also liked art, literature, or music. Both shared this common interest. In those days, having interest in art, literature, or music was not considered to be good. So, those people who were interested in art, literature, or music used to call their opponents Philistines. Albert Einstein's family and many people in the university were not in favor of this. So, against such people, Albert Einstein and Mileva Marik's unity helped them face the situation. Albert Einstein and Mileva Marik fell in love and they exchanged love letters to express their feelings. They used to write such kinds of letters where they used to mix science with their feelings. And at one instance, Einstein talked about his scientific invention and said that he would be very proud on that day when they would finally conclude their paper on the theory of relativity. In the year 1900, Albert Einstein was 21 years of age and he completed his graduation from the university but was unemployed. From 1900 to 1902, Albert Einstein was working as a teaching assistant and gave private lessons also. Finally, in 1902, he got a job in Bern. Bern is a city in Germany. He got the job of a technical officer in a patent's office in Bern. Einstein was supposed to check the inventions done by the other people and give them a patent. On the other hand, secretly, he was making his own inventions too. Einstein later said the desk on which he worked was the Office of Theoretical Physics because there only he started working on his inventions. In the year 1905, Einstein published his first paper. It was about special theory of relativity. In this publication, it was written that the measurement of time and distance is not absolute. It depended on something else. According to the theory, if there are two clocks and both are moving, they will not show the same time. One clock will move faster than the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula which describes the relationship between mass and energy. E is equal to mc square. This theory of relativity gave us this basic formula of physics. E is equal to mc square. E stands for energy, m for mass of the object, and c for the speed of the light in a vacuum. To put it into the simpler words, Einstein said that when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. On the other hand, when you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity. Though he was solving the complicated problems in physics for the world, his personal life started becoming problematic. He started to fail in his personal life. Albert Einstein wanted to marry Mileva soon after he finished his studies. His mother thought that Mileva Marik, who was 3 years elder to Albert Einstein, was very old for him. Pauline thought that Mileva was very intelligent to be a wife, and she told Einstein that Mileva was also like a book and was similar to him. As his mother was against this marriage, he cancelled his wedding with Mileva. Albert Einstein married Mileva Marik in the year 1903 and they had 2 sons. Mileva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. As Mileva Marik was very intelligent, being a housewife, she could not cope with her ambitions. She could not fulfill her ambitions and so on. She started becoming unhappy. Mileva was very unhappy from this marriage. She could not fulfill her career dreams. So finally, in the year 1919, after prolonged fighting, both of them separated. Albert Einstein married the second time. He married his cousin Elsa in the same year when he divorced his wife, Mileva. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to world fame. At the time Einstein married Elsa, another thing coincided. It was Einstein's rise to world fame. Einstein became world famous. Everyone acknowledged him as a great scientist. In 1915, he had finished his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. In the year 1915, he published one more paper which was based on general theory of relativity and gave a new interpretation to gravity. In the year 1919, there was a solar eclipse which proved that Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity was correct. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance. Albert Einstein had calculated in the year 1915 that in the year 1919 there would be a solar eclipse. Due to it, the apparent position of the stars would change to some extent. His calculation was accurate, so it was announced that Albert Einstein's work was a scientific revolution. Albert Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. The Nobel Prize was based on the will of the famous Swedish scientist, a scientist who belongs to Sweden, Alfred Nobel. It was established in 1895, and the first Nobel Prize was given in the year 1901. Einstein was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics in the year 1921. In 1933, when Germany came under the power of Nazis, at that time Einstein left Germany and had shifted to United States of America. After 5 years, the Germans discovered the process of nuclear fission, the process through which nuclear bombs or atomic bombs are made. This process was prepared in Berlin. Due to this, all the physicists in America were upset as they feared misuse of technology. There were many scientists who escaped to America because of fascism. All the scientists were afraid that the Nazis would misuse the atomic bomb. Soon after that, Albert Einstein was requested by a colleague, and so he wrote a letter to the President of America, Franklin D. Roosevelt, on 2nd August 1939. He warned him that the atomic bomb was developed by Germany was very powerful. He warned him that the atomic bomb, which was developed by Germany, was very powerful. If one of these bombs exploded on any pot, it would not only destroy the area, but also it would destroy the surrounding territory. This shows Einstein's humanitarian quality. That's why he wrote his concern to the President of America and warned him. In the meanwhile, the Americans developed the atomic bomb secretly and dropped it on two cities of Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Germans had just developed the atomic bomb. They did not use it on any country, but America did. Lot of destruction took place, and Einstein was totally upset and he was shaken. In it, he proposed a formation of a world government. Unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact. But over the next decade, Einstein got ever more involved in politics, agitating for an end to the arms buildup and using his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. He campaigned for world peace and democracy. His main agenda was world peace and freedom of people. Einstein could not foresee the future. When he died in 1955, At the age of 76, the world celebrated him as a visionary. He was a world citizen and a scientific genius too. Students, I hope you understood today's lesson. Let's meet with yet another new video. For the time being, it's me, Anita, signing out from you. Thank you. Have a nice day.